Hey YouTube, welcome to another discussion video. I'm going to try to start doing more of these, so if you guys have suggestions on topics, let me know. Definitely would love to talk about it. So this one here actually comes from one of my coworkers who's an outstanding drummer. And what he thought would be a good topic to talk about is this. So he suggested the flexibility and tempo when it comes to playing with a band. The importance of having a strong leader, but also being able to hold a band together and move more cinematically when needed. Um, it's definitely no secret that, as drummers, having good time as well as good feel, and those two things are different, is extremely important. Now, granted, it's every musician's job to have good time, but the drummer definitely drives the bus. We're kind of like the conductor of an orchestra. The rest of the band is basing their notes and rhythm and just what they're playing based on the time that you're setting for them. And it is important for your time to be steady. But I think the question comes in, how steady? Does it need to be like metronomically, perfect, where it just doesn't move? Well, there's a couple things, when tackling this question to be thinking about. One, are you playing to a click or metronome live or not? Okay? If you are, and this is actually becoming very common these days, I know at the church that I play at, we play all of our songs we do every Saturday and Sunday are played to a click. Now that's largely due to having some backing tracks, but even on some of the tunes where there are no backing tracks, we still play an open click. That everybody in the band can hear because everybody's using in-ears. So in that situation, the time is being given by the band, or by the not the band. I'm sorry, but by the click track. Okay, so as a drummer, what is your job in that standpoint? Well, your job is, of course, you still are, have to set the groove and make it feel good, but your job isn't just follow the metronome. And in those situations, I treat the metronome more like a guide. Instead of it being the law of the land, so to speak, I treat it as a guide. I don't just try to play perfectly with it. Because to me, when music is so just perfect, okay, and a lot of today's music that comes out is like that, to me it starts to lack feeling, okay, because it's a machine. And as human beings, we don't walk that way, we don't breathe that way, we don't think that way. You know what I'm saying? It just, we're not robots. And to me, that, having that kind of just metronomical perfection just doesn't, it lacks feeling to me. So in those situations, again, I treat the metronome more like a guide. I don't strive to play perfectly with it. I try to concentrate on listening to the band and try to play with good feel. And I just use the metronome to sort of keep me, within, some basic parameters of where I need to be, so I'm not getting, way off. And then also you have to approach, are you trying to play it right on top of the click? Are you trying to play a little bit behind the click? Are you trying to play a little bit in front? Okay, all three of those offer a different feel. Okay, if you play a little bit behind, you're playing a feel that's really laid back and almost sluggish, but not dragging. Okay, playing on top is basically trying to play just right on top of the metronome, and then pushing it or playing in front gives the feeling of again, not rushing but really pushing, kind of like a roaring freight train going down the tracks, out of control almost, where it feels like it's almost getting away from the time, but not quite. So that's how I treat playing to a click live. And maybe others have a different opinion on that, but that's how I think of it, based on just on how I feel music in general. Now, when you're not playing to a click, if you go back, 20 plus years, 80s, 70s, 60s, back before you had all this technology that can basically make any band sound perfect. I mean, obviously, when you listen to music today on the radio, it's flawless. It sounds perfect. I mean, not just the band, but the singer as well. The vocals are it's flawless. But you go back, 20, 30, 40 years, back before technology could really do a lot of these things in the studio. If you listen to, recordings of, just take your pick of various bands back then, it's not perfect as far as the time. There are definitely imperfections, and even areas where the band is rushing. Now, sometimes maybe they choose to do this, but there's definitely, just for the sake of capturing the moment and the feel of the song, there's definitely imperfections where the time drags or it rushes. It's not perfect, but it still doesn't mean that the song and the band isn't absolutely amazing. So I think trying to capture perfect time in these situations can sometimes be a little overly emphasized. I mean, yes, I'm not saying that you want the time to go like this or like this, but I think this is okay. I think making it organic, where the music can breathe and have a little bit of ebb and flow, not too much, but a little bit of ebb and flow, I think is a good thing, and that's how I treat it. I mean, when I'm playing without a click with a band, I'm trying to interact with their parts, and you're obviously having to interact with their interpretation of the time, which everybody's going to have a different interpretation of the time depending on how they play. So, I think trying not to fight that too much. I mean, obviously you're having to lead the way, but not overly fighting the band, and just, trying to ride the wave with the band, I think, is a better way to go about it. And I think it can make things more exciting. I think it will contribute in a positive way to making the music feel good. I mean, I have definitely listened, and I'm not going to name specifics, but, I've heard tons of bands and tons of songs where the time wasn't perfect, but it felt so good. I mean, way better than anything, that I hear, today, in large part. I'm saying that's been like, overly produced, and it's just, it's perfectly quantized, and everything is just perfect. Because, nowadays, if you've done any kind of studio work, I mean, they can take every single note and adjust it. Or they can auto-correct your pitch when you're singing, so that if you're a little bit flat or sharp, it corrects it live while you're singing. I mean, technology is amazing, but I think it can go a little far. And maybe I'm a little kind of old school in my thinking in that regard. But that's the way I kind of look at it. My goal is to make sure that the meter is solid, but I'm more concerned with making the music feel good, or trying to make it feel good, and less worried about if the time is doing this. Now, granted, if the time starts to really veer off, either rushing or dragging, I'll always will feel it. If it does, I feel like if it gets out of control, I'll pull it back if I think I need to. But sometimes an intentional tempo change that's substantial can be a really cool effect. So my goal is I want the music to feel organic and to breathe and be real. Whatever that might mean. Again, but at the same time, you don't want to be too lax in that as well. I think finding a happy medium is the way to go, and practicing to a metronome as drummers, of course, is really important. Other exercises you can do that I practice is I'll sit there on YouTube and watch a song on YouTube that I like, and then what I'll do is I'll turn the volume down on the song for like 30 seconds to a minute, but I'll continue to tap out the time. Alright, the song is still playing, just the volume is down. And then after that 30 seconds or a minute, I'll turn the volume back up and see, am I still with the song? And I'll continue to sing the lyrics as well while I'm tapping out the tempo and see how far off did I get. Okay. With the metronome, things I like to do is I'll have the metronome play 4 counts that are audible, and then 4 counts that are silent. So it'll be D D D D silence, but still going D D D D, or have the metronome play count 1 of 8 counts. So it plays count 1 and then silent for 7 counts. Ooh, that's humbling. Do this at a really slow tempo. Woo! Okay, where you really have to subdivide. Other things I'll do to work on just general timing and subdividing is I'll not only practice playing the metronome on the downbeat, but I'll practice playing the metronome on the upbeat, on the E's, and on the U's. Okay, that's really difficult. All right, but it's definitely really good practice. Something else you can do is practice, and I've mentioned this in other videos. Practice just counting the quarter note when you're playing. Don't subdivide. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, and sit there and play really syncopated grooves and fills against that. That really helps to kind of get yourself grounded, and do you feel where the quarter note is at all times, regardless of what you're playing. All right, so you're not counting the subdivisions, you're just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then playing whatever against it and seeing can you hold that countdown. All right, so those are some good exercises that you can do that definitely will help you. But again, I try to keep a pretty, organic thought process in mind when it comes to music, whether I'm playing to a click or not. I used to really be like, okay, it's got to be dot 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 dot, and sometimes trying to be more as perfect with the metronome is maybe a good idea. I don't want to say that that's never the case. I mean, every song is different, every style of music is different, so you just have to, approach each situation differently. But by and large, I try not to treat music as because again, to me, it's not good for the feel overall. Now, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying everything that I'm saying is 100% the way it is and true. This has just been my interpretation of what I think is correct. So, but I'll be happy to hear your opinions and your ideas. I mean, so if you have a different opinion, let me know. I would love to hear it. All right, guys. So I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you guys soon. All right, I'll be doing some more discussion videos on various topics as we go. So I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. All right, guys. Take care. All right, have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.